Navori QL offers a wide range of administrative features that control what users can see and what they can do on the platform. For example, domains let administrators restrict access to specific groups and subgroups. Here's how it works. Select Main menu and then Domain and User Management. The window is split in 3 areas. The Domain section lists all the domains currently available. By default, there is a root domain, and it's up to the administrator to create new domains and assign users to each one. The View section is where administrators assign groups and subgroups to the selected domain. The User section is where user accounts are created and managed. To create a new domain, right-click on the root level and select New. Name the new domain, and then click OK to confirm. You'll notice that there are no groups selected in the view and there are no user accounts. Let's assign a group to our new domain. Click the down arrow and check the box for each group and subgroup you wish to assign. Note that you can't create any new groups in here. Groups and subgroups must be created in the player window first. Also, it's important to remember these selections can be changed later, so you can add new subgroups as your network grows. If you plan to share content from upper levels, be sure to include them. Otherwise, the users assigned to the domain won't have access to that content. They can only see and access the levels you select here. To confirm your selections, click the Save button. Let's add a new user to our domain. Click Add in the Users section. Next, fill out the user's general information. Note that only the country field is mandatory. Under Account, select the type of authentication this user will require. The default is QL authentication, so be sure to select Active Directory or ADFS if appropriate. In an Active Directory environment, users can access the QL Content Manager if they're already logged into Active Directory. They don't have to log in again to access the Content Manager. In the next field, enter a login name. This is an alphanumeric field, and you can also enter the user's email address. Enter the user's password and confirm it in the next field. Note the user will be able to change the password once they log in. By default, all user accounts start on the date that they are created and expire 3 months later. You can override both fields. For example, you can set the start date to coincide with a person's hiring date. The IP restriction feature lets administrators restrict login access to a select number of IP addresses. This means the user can only log in from a PC or device that uses one of the approved addresses. This could be used to restrict login to a physical space like an office or other workspace. To activate the feature, check the IP restriction box. Enter up to 10 IP addresses in the table below. Note that wildcards are accepted. IP restriction is disabled by default, which means the user can log in from anywhere. Next, we move on to the user profile. Start by selecting the type of user account. The default profile lets the user access the Content Manager dashboard. Selecting the Data Feed User Interface option means the user will only have access to their assigned data feeds. They won't be able to access and use the regular dashboard. You must now select a user role from the pull-down list. Each role comes with its own set of rights and privileges, and the list will vary depending if you're logged into QL Cloud or QL On-Premise. QL Cloud roles are managed by Navori, while QL On-Premise servers are delivered with a standard set of user roles that can be modified by the server administrator. Selecting an admin role will make this user an administrator, meaning they can access most of the server's feature and create user accounts. The end user role provides basic access, and while this user can upload new content, it must be approved by a power user before it can be shown on screen. The power user role is like the regular end user, with the exception that they can also approve content ready to be published. For a detailed list of every QL Cloud role permissions, consult the Navori support website. Next, select the type of alerts and event notifications the user can receive. This setting will affect the player status indicator behavior as well as notification emails. The options are all alerts, content-related alerts, and technical alerts. Events add another option, management events. When this option is selected, the user will see the player status indicator turn yellow whenever there is content to approve. The email approval pull-down lists users who can receive content approval requests. Select an email address and the recipient will be notified if any content needs approval. Activating email notifications ensures this user will receive email alerts. The user will not receive email notifications if this checkbox is left empty. It's important to note the role, alert, and event profile fields are mandatory regardless if the user type is default or data feed. You won't be able to complete the user account process until these fields have been filled out. Once you're done, click the Save button to confirm your choices and create the user account. You may edit a user account at any time. For example, a power user can be elevated to administrator by switching their user role, or an expired user account can be restored by changing the expiry date. Users can edit some information by selecting Main Menu, then My Account. They can edit their general information and modify their password. However, login names and authentication type can only be modified by the administrator. This concludes our review of the administrative features. Be sure to visit www.navori.com for more information.